The crash and first contact. The void of space tore open as the Artemis, a small interstellar scout vessel, burst from hyperjump with alarms blaring. Lieutenant Cassidy Vega gripped the controls, her knuckles white as the ship shuddered violently around her. Navigation offline. Propulsion systems failing, she shouted to no one, the rest of her crew lost weeks ago to the void. A cascade of red warnings flashed across her console as the ship tumbled toward an uncharted planet, a swirling blue-green gem that wasn't supposed to be there. The planet's gravity seized the Artemis like a predator, pulling the wounded vessel into its atmosphere. Fire licked the viewports as Cassidy fought for control, the ship's hull screaming in protest. "Come on, girl, just a little longer," she whispered, coaxing what remained of the landing thrusters to life. The ocean surface rushed up to meet her, vast, pristine, and terrifying. The impact came with a deafening roar as the Artemis skipped once, twice across the water before sinking beneath the waves. Darkness claimed her. When Cassidy awoke, golden sunlight dappled her face. She lay on a beach of iridescent sand that shifted between lavender and silver with each gentle wave. The air carried scents she couldn't name, sweet and clean, like nothing on earth. Her flight suit was torn and scorched, but her emergency beacon lay smashed beyond repair nearby. She struggled to her feet, wincing at the pain in her ribs. The Artemis was gone, likely resting at the bottom of the alien sea. The shoreline curved gently, framing a paradise of tall trees with spiral-shaped leaves and fruit that glowed with internal light. 2 suns hung in the sky, one golden, one smaller and pale blue. "Too perfect," Cassidy muttered, suspicion overriding her wonder. Her survival kit had washed ashore with her, a small mercy. The medikit inside allowed her to seal a gash on her leg and administer painkillers. The scanner, partially functioning, revealed breathable air but flagged unknown compounds. The water tested clean, though strangely enriched with minerals she'd never seen before. For 3 days, Cassidy established a camp near the shore, gathering what materials she could and rationing her supplies. She built a signal fire each night, though she suspected no one would see it. Each morning, she explored further inland, mapping the terrain and searching for resources. On the 4th day, she noticed the tracks, smooth depressions in the sand leading from the water's edge to the fruit-bearing trees and back. Not human, not animal in any way she recognized. Something intelligent, methodical. That night, as twin moons cast their glow over the water, Cassidy saw it, a ripple in the sea, moving against the current. She gripped her emergency blade, the only weapon she had, and waited. From the water emerged a figure that stole Cassidy's breath. Tall, graceful, with skin that shimmered like polished opal in patterns of blue and violet. The alien had a humanoid form but moved with liquid grace. Large eyes, almond-shaped and deep as the night sky, fixed on Cassidy without blinking. Delicate gill-like structures fluttered at its neck, and what appeared to be hair floated around its head like living tendrils, reacting to the air. It was, without question, the most beautiful creature Cassidy had ever seen. "Hello," Cassidy said softly, lowering her blade. "I'm not here to harm you." The alien tilted its head, those cosmic eyes studying her intently. Then it raised a 6-fingered hand and touched its chest. "Elohi," it said, the sound melodic and strange. Cassidy swallowed hard and touched her own chest. "Cassidy." The creature, Elohi, mimicked the motion. "Casti." Thus began an unlikely alliance. Each day, Elohi would emerge from the sea, and Cassidy would teach it words. Each night, Elohi would return to the water, only to appear again with the morning light. Within 2 weeks, they had established a rudimentary communication system. Elohi was female, or at least identified with the pronoun when Cassidy explained it. She had been on this world for many cycles, alone, she emphasized with a gesture that encompassed the entire beach. "No others like you?" Cassidy asked one morning as they shared a meal of the glowing fruit, which Elohi had shown was safe to eat, and small fish caught in a handmade trap. Elohi's tendrils flattened against her skull, a sign of distress Cassidy had come to recognize. Others, gone. Long ago. Elohi alone, until skybreak. She pointed upward, then to Cassidy. My ship crashed, Cassidy explained. I didn't mean to come here. No one means, Elohi replied cryptically. The paradise had patterns that began to trouble Cassidy. The weather never varied beyond perfect, warm days, cool nights. Predators existed but never approached their camp. The fruit was always ripe, the fish always plentiful. It was as if the entire ecosystem had been designed for comfort and survival. Too perfect. The thought returned frequently. On the 20th day, while exploring a series of caves inland, Cassidy discovered the first concrete evidence that something was wrong. Ancient glyphs covered a smooth stone wall, neither natural nor made by anything like Elohi. The patterns pulsed faintly with their own light when she touched them. What is this place? She whispered. A shadow fell across the cave entrance. Elohi stood there, her normally serene features tight with anxiety. Not safe, she said, pulling Cassidy away from the wall. They watch. Who watches? Cassidy demanded, but Elohi only shook her head, tendrils writhing in agitation. That night, as they sat by the fire, Elohi finally spoke of the truth. Her command of Cassidy's language had improved dramatically, almost too quickly. This world, not real world, she began hesitantly. Is. Container. Experiment. A simulation? Cassidy asked, her blood running cold. No. Real place. Real prison. Elohi's fingers traced patterns in the sand. Made by the Watchers. They collect specimens. Study how we live. How we bond. Cassidy felt the weight of unseen eyes upon her. How many others? Many crash here. Few survive. Elohi pointed to the distant hills. Bones there. Human bones. Others too. And you? You've been part of this experiment. Elohi's eyes dimmed. Was trapped. In Waterworld first. Then here when it failed. Now. She reached out, her cool fingers brushing Cassidy's hand. Not alone. But dangerous. Watchers see connection, will test. Test how? But Elohi had already risen, staring at the perfect night sky with dread. Tomorrow. Big storm comes. Always same. When bond forms, they test. As if on cue, the air pressure changed subtly. The twin moons, always visible until now, slipped behind gathering clouds. We need shelter, Cassidy said, gathering their supplies. The cave. No. Elohi's voice was sharp. Cave is their place. We go to Coral Reef. Underwater. Safe there. Cassidy hesitated. I can't breathe underwater. Elohi's tendrils swayed gently as she reached into a pouch at her waist and removed a small, translucent object like a seashell. This help, she said, offering it to Cassidy. Trust Elohi. As lightning fractured the sky and the first drops of rain, unnaturally heavy and warm, began to fall, Cassidy made her decision. She took the shell, watching as it melted into a gel-like substance in her palm. What do I do with this? On face, Elohi demonstrated, spreading her hands over her own gills. Breathe water like air. The storm intensified within minutes. Wind tore at Cassidy's shelter, scattering the carefully gathered supplies. The once calm sea rose in massive waves that threatened to sweep away the entire beach. Elohi took Cassidy's hand, leading her toward the churning water. At the edge, she paused, those deep cosmic eyes searching Cassidy's face. Trust, she repeated. Cassidy spread the gel over her nose and mouth, feeling it adhere like a second skin. Then, with one last look at the false paradise being torn apart by the manufactured storm, she followed Elohi into the depths of the alien sea, toward a truth she couldn't begin to imagine. The truth and escape. The descent into the alien sea was like entering another world entirely. As Cassidy followed Alohi deeper, her panic about breathing underwater gradually subsided. The gel-like substance adhered to her face created a thin membrane that somehow extracted oxygen from the water, allowing her to breathe normally. It felt strange, like inhaling cool mist with each breath, but it worked. Bioluminescent creatures illuminated their path, casting an ethereal blue glow across the underwater landscape. Schools of crystalline fish scattered as they passed, their transparent bodies refracting light like living prisms. Alohi moved with natural grace, her tendrils flowing behind her, occasionally reaching back to ensure Cassidy followed closely. After swimming for what felt like hours, they approached a massive coral structure rising from the seabed. Unlike Earth corals, these formations pulsed with internal light, creating patterns that seemed almost like written language. Tunnels and chambers had been carved into the living reef, forming a hidden sanctuary away from the watchful eyes above. Alohi guided Cassidy into one of these chambers, a bubble of air trapped within the coral. As they surfaced, Cassidy gasped, removing the breathing gel from her face. "We safe here," Alohi said, her voice echoing softly in the chamber. "For now." The coral walls provided natural illumination, bathing them in soft purple light. Cassidy examined their shelter and realized it wasn't entirely natural. Tools and artifacts from various civilizations lined recessed shelves in the walls. "You've been collecting things," Cassidy observed, running her fingers over what appeared to be the fragment of a navigation console, not human in design. "From others who crashed here." Alohi nodded solemnly. "Learning. Remembering. Preparing." "How many?" Cassidy asked again. "How many others have been trapped here?" 27 species. Alohi's tendrils drooped. "In my time. Before that, unknown." Cassidy sat heavily on a natural bench formation, trying to process the implications. "And these Watchers. What do they want?" Alohi's large eyes dimmed slightly. "Study connection. How different species learn together. Adapt. Bond. Like a cosmic zoo." "Yes. But more." Alohi moved to a circular pool in the center of the chamber, where she dipped her hand. The water's surface rippled, then resolved into images, holographic projections showing different alien species interacting in various environments. They test limits. How far connection go before breaking? The images shifted to scenes of desperate struggles, beings fighting against environmental catastrophes, helping one another, sometimes sacrificing themselves. The final image showed two different aliens standing together as the world around them collapsed, choosing to face death rather than abandon each other. "The final test," Alohi whispered. "Always same. Choose self or other." "And if we pass?" Cassidy asked, throat tight. "No one know. No one passed before." As the storm raged above, Alohi revealed more of the truth. The Paradise Planet was an artificial construct, a testing ground created by an ancient species obsessed with understanding the concept of connection across different evolutionary paths. The environments were tailored to each pairing of subjects, designed to foster dependency and eventually emotional bonds. "My world gone," Alohi explained, showing Cassidy a projection of a vast ocean planet with floating crystal cities. "Watchers took last survivors. Study us. I alone remain." "My ship didn't malfunction," Cassidy realized. "They pulled me here. Deliberately." Alohi nodded. "Need new subject. Human not tested before." Throughout the night, as they sheltered from the manufactured storm, Alohi taught Cassidy about the planetary systems, the hidden mechanisms that controlled everything from weather to wildlife. Most importantly, she revealed the existence of a central node deep beneath the oldest mountain on the island. "Control place," she explained, sketching a map in the sand of the chamber floor. "Where tests made. Where rules exist. And if we destroy it?" Maybe free. Maybe die. Elohi's tendrils swayed in uncertainty. No one tried before. When the storm finally subsided, they emerged to find the landscape transformed. The perfect beach was gone, replaced by treacherous rocky terrain. The glowing fruit trees had withered, their bounty replaced by thorny plants bearing small poisonous berries. Even the air felt different, thinner, harder to breathe. The next phase, Cassidy murmured. They're making survival harder. Elohi pointed to the distant mountain, a peak that hadn't been visible before. We go there. Now. Before next change. Their journey across the altered landscape was grueling. What had once been a paradise had become a deliberate hell, designed to test their resolve and their bond. Acid rain fell intermittently, forcing them to seek shelter in shallow caves. Creatures that had once been docile now stalked them through the underbrush, not truly predatory, Elohi explained, but programmed to herd them toward specific challenges. On the third day of their trek, they encountered the first direct evidence of the Watchers. A floating probe, metallic and insectoid in design, hovered silently before them on the trail. It projected a holographic message in a language Cassidy couldn't understand, but Elohi stiffened beside her. What did it say? Cassidy asked when the probe had departed. Final test approaches, Elohi translated, her voice hollow. Choose path. As they neared the mountain, the tests intensified. A ravine opened suddenly beneath Cassidy's feet, and only Elohi's quick reflexes saved her from plummeting to her death. Later, as they forded a river of unnaturally hot water, Elohi collapsed from the heat, her aquatic physiology struggling. Cassidy carried her to safety, using the last of her medkit to treat the alien's burns. Each trial forged their connection stronger, exactly as the Watchers intended. On the seventh day, they reached the mountain's base. A hidden entrance, revealed only by Elohi's knowledge of the controller's patterns, led them into the heart of the artificial world. The tunnels inside were unlike the natural caves they'd encountered before, smooth, metallic, thrumming with power. This technology, Cassidy whispered, examining the walls, it's beyond anything humanity has even theorized. Old, Elohi confirmed. Older than my species. Then yours. Deep within the mountain, they finally discovered the control node, a pulsing crystalline structure suspended in a vast chamber. Around it, holographic displays showed different regions of the planet, monitoring all aspects of the environment and its inhabitants. There were others here, Cassidy realized, noticing different panels sized for various physiologies. The Watchers aren't just one species. Collective, Elohi agreed. Many Watchers. Many tests. As they approached the central crystal, the chamber sealed behind them. A voice, or rather, many voices layered into one, filled the air. Final evaluation phase initiated. Specimens have reached terminus point. Commencing ultimate bond assessment. The floor beneath them split, separating Cassidy and Elohi onto platforms that began drifting apart. Between them, the floor disappeared, revealing a seemingly bottomless void. Choose, the voices commanded. One may leave. One must remain to maintain system integrity. Decide now. Holographic displays activated around each of them, showing images designed to appeal to their deepest desires. For Cassidy, visions of Earth, of home, of her family believing her long dead. For Elohi, images of her ocean world restored, populated with others of her kind. Its manipulation, Cassidy called across the widening gap. Don't believe it. Elohi's tendrils writhed in distress as she stared at the images of her lost people. Could be real, she whispered. They have power to restore. But at what cost? Cassidy countered. An eternity of imprisoning others? Testing them until they break? The void between them continued to widen. Soon, they would be too far apart to communicate. Choose, the voices insisted. Or both will be terminated. Cassidy looked at the beautiful alien who had saved her life multiple times, who had shared her knowledge and her trust despite centuries of isolation and heartbreak. Then she looked at the images of Earth, so close, so tempting. "I choose neither option," Cassidy shouted to the void. "Your test is flawed. Connection isn't about sacrifice or survival, it's about finding a third path." With that, she leapt from her platform toward Elohi's, an impossible distance, a fatal fall certain to await her. But before gravity could claim her, Elohi launched herself forward, her powerful aquatic muscles propelling her through the air. Their hands met in the middle of the void, fingers interlocking. For a moment, they hung suspended, defying both the test and physics itself. Then, unexpectedly, the crystal control node pulsed brightly. The voices spoke again, but differently, with something approaching wonder. Parameter exception. Mutual sacrifice without prompt. Unforeseen outcome. Light engulfed them both, blinding in its intensity. When Cassidy could see again, she found herself and Elohi standing before the crystal, the platforms gone, the void sealed. Assessment complete, the voices announced. First successful pairing documented. Releasing specimens with gratitude. The crystal began to fracture, cracks spreading across its surface as the chamber trembled around them. "What's happening?" Cassidy asked, steadying herself against a control panel. "System, releasing," Elohi said in wonder. Breaking pattern. A new hologram appeared, a star map showing a path away from the planet. Coordinates appeared, along with images of a small spacecraft hidden in an underwater hangar. Compensation provided for participation. Safe passage granted. As the mountain began to collapse around them, they raced through the tunnels, following the map to the hidden hangar where an alien vessel, small but space-worthy, awaited them. The planet's artificial systems were shutting down, the paradise illusion falling away to reveal the true barren world beneath. Elohi piloted the craft with intuitive skill, launching them into orbit just as massive sections of the planet's surface began to fold inward, the entire construct collapsing like an elaborate stage set being dismantled. From space, Cassidy watched the false Eden implode, leaving nothing but asteroid-sized debris and unanswered questions. "Where will you go now?" she asked Elohi as the alien studied the star charts. Elohi's tendrils moved thoughtfully. "Many stars. Many worlds." She turned to Cassidy, those cosmic eyes reflecting the starlight. "Together?" Cassidy smiled, reaching out to take Elohi's six-fingered hand. Their unlikely bond, forged in deception, tested in crisis, and validated in sacrifice, had not only saved them but had somehow changed the course of an ancient experiment. "Together," she agreed. "But first, let's send a warning buoy to Earth space. No one else should fall into that trap." As their small vessel accelerated toward the stars, Cassidy wondered how many other tests were being conducted across the galaxy, how many other species were being studied and manipulated. Perhaps she and Elohi had triggered something significant, a reassessment by the Watchers, or even the beginning of their withdrawal. Or perhaps they had simply passed one test, only to unknowingly enter another. But whatever lay ahead, they would face it as they had faced the false paradise, with trust, ingenuity, and the unbreakable connection that had defied an intelligence older than their civilizations. Behind them, the last remnants of Eden flickered and died in the void, its cost finally paid in full.